What's up, guys? So, the UFC in Liverpool just happened, and it seems to be a lot of people talking about the main event and the scoring, and Wonderboy got robbed and all this kind of stuff. People seem very confused about the rules. People seem very confused on what was happening in the fight. But overall, the card, it wasn't bad, but it wasn't the greatest. You know, there were some lackluster fights on there. For the main event especially, it did look like a sparring match. A lot of people were saying that. You can't blame them for not being too aggressive because they're both very powerful counter-strikers. And when you have two counter-strikers against each other, you're going to have a lot of feeling out, a lot of tactics in there, you know, instead of engaging and being offensive and aggressive and all that kind of stuff. So you're not going to see the action-packed back and forth kind of fight like Robbie Lawler versus Rory McDonald or something, right? And the whole thing with missing weight, it seemed not to affect Till. I mean, he went 5 rounds pretty easily. He didn't really gas out that much, but then again, there wasn't too much action. There was a lot of movement, a lot of footwork. I mean, they covered the octagon more than like anybody I've ever seen, but not too many strikes were getting thrown, right? And that's the biggest thing. When people are scoring this fight and they say Wonderboy was outstriking Till, was he really? I don't think either of them outstruck each other at all, besides the 5th round, right? Where Darren Till dropped him. And Darren Till has some good leg kicks. People are talking about Wonderboy catching Till and snapping his head back. Look back in that fight. How many times did he actually hit Till? I only count I only count twice where he actually caught Till like that. But people don't know Till's style. He snaps back on everything, right? That's why it looks like he's getting hit sometimes. Every single strike that he gets too close on, he leans really far back quickly to get away from strikes. He would do this in the past where he would lean back really quickly, looks like he gets hit, and all of a sudden he engages the opponent and closes the distance on them behind their strike. He just couldn't do that to Wonderboy because Wonderboy was immediately out of there, right? Neither of them were really landing anything on each other. There was no significant strikes. I mean, there were significant strikes by the rules, but there was no effective striking besides the leg kicks from Darren Till and when he dropped Wonderboy. Wonderboy had 2 punches in the entire fight that I can remember just watching it that did affect Darren Till somewhat, right? But not too much. People have to understand that defense is not scored. No matter how many times you evade strikes, no matter how many times you slip away and defend them, you're not getting any points. Actually, the guy throwing strikes is getting points, even from the other guy defending it, because he's the aggressor. He's winning that exchange. The more punches you throw, you're getting more points for doing that. People don't know how the criteria still works. I mean, they are going by the new rules, right? So people have to understand how they score fights according to the criteria. They go down from a list. First is effective striking and damage. More of that goes to Darren Till from that 5th round and those leg kicks, right? He was landing those side kicks to the knee. I mean, even Wonderboy after the fight, he said that Till kind of messed up his knee. I mean, that tells you how significant that was, how effective that was. And he also said that he couldn't switch into orthodox as much as he wanted to because of his knee. It was already damaged from 2 of those side kicks. So if you make the guy switch their game up like that because of kicks, that's an effective strike. You're causing damage. He landed some good outside leg kicks too when Wonderboy switched to the southpaw stance. And when he dropped Stephen Thompson, no one could dispute that. That was the most effective thing of the entire fight. There's a lot more damage coming from Till's side, right? Till wasn't really hurt that much. I mean, he got hit by like 2 right hands, but then again, he's snapping back on them. The impact is that much less when you're moving away from the strikes, right? After effective striking is effective grappling. Nothing really happened in the grappling. The only kind of grappling that was happening in the fight was Darren Till clinching up Thompson. Didn't land flush knees or anything, but he clinched up, so he's the only one that really grappled. I mean, Stephen Thompson did actually take him down, but he didn't control him at all. So I don't even know if they count it as a takedown. I don't know how it is. You take them down or you got to take them down and create some control, like in wrestling, right? And then you go to things like aggression, and then you go to things like octagon control, and those two are by far Darren Till. So that's how you had Darren Till winning those rounds there where nothing was happening. He was the aggressor the entire fight, pretty much. He was the one controlling the octagon pretty much the entire fight. And when there were no effective striking, or the effective striking really wasn't trumping anything, because there was barely any of that, you have to go to the next thing. Darren Till's winning the next in the criteria, right? So you have to give him those rounds. People have to also understand, I see some people saying nobody won 3 rounds, nobody won 4 rounds. You could have Darren Till winning 3 rounds. I had Darren Till winning 4 rounds. But then again, it's almost like a sparring match. They were both touching each other, but there were rounds, I think it was in the 4th round, where Wonderboy really wasn't landing anything. He was just evading the entire round. And Darren Till was like touching a little bit more, and he had the aggression, and he had the octagon control. And you can actually say the octagon control and the aggression trumped a lot of the striking that were happening in each round. So you would have to give it to Darren Till. Now, don't get mistaken, this was a very close fight. Although I did give Till 4 rounds, it's still close in the sense that every round was closely contested. The rounds that Till was winning were very close to going to Wonderboy's side, but logically looking at the scoring criteria, I gave it to Till. I don't score these fights by who touched who more, who landed more strikes, who landed the higher number of strikes. This has nothing to do with the criteria, right? People are looking at this too much. Even the analysts, he touched him more, he landed more strikes. This is not what the criteria is, though. You're going by the old criteria. This new criteria has been going on for years now, so we gotta adapt to it. You know, if this is how they score fights, it makes more sense to you if you look at it that way. So that's the whole thing with the scoring there. I mean, I don't know how people are still confusing this. There was no damage. There was really no effective striking throughout the entire fight. It was like 5 to 8 effective strikes total throughout the entire fight. So that is not the most effective thing happening in the fight. There was no grappling. You have to go to the next thing, and Darren Till is winning in that category. So that's how you give it to Till. But either way, great win by Darren Till. I mean, excellent win. Beating the number 1 guy. Liverpool crowd was crazy. I mean, you can hear him on TV. They were singing his song and everything. That was pretty cool. But yeah, it's a great win for him. He's going to go up the rankings, probably number 1 for now, until the winner of the interim belt will jump over him. And who do you give these two guys next? Wonderboy, man, he lost 3 out of his last 4, which is not good. I mean, he's lost to some of the best guys in the division, right? Tyron Woodley and Darren Till. Maybe give him Kamaru Usman. I think that'd be a good one. I don't know if they'll give Darren Till anybody yet. I think they want to save him. They see he's a potential rising star. I mean, the way that fight went, it kind of diminished a lot of what he was boasting about, a lot of the talk. It wasn't the most exciting fight, point fighting. You know, so not the best kind of fight you want to see from a guy like Darren Till. But then again, it's Wonderboy Thompson, When Wonderboy doesn't engage on you and he's looking to counter you, what are you going to do? Even Tyron Woodley, that's why the Tyron Woodley fight was boring. This is kind of how you have to fight the guy. You can't engage him too much or you're going to get dropped. So, yeah, maybe a Kamaru Usman. I would like to see him versus Gunnar Nelson or something. And then for Darren Till, I mean, 25 years old. And this guy, man, he's at the top of the division already. I mean, the hype is kind of real. I mean, he won a technical fight against a true technician, a high-level striker in any form of combat sports. Till maybe should fight. I think they're just going to hold him back for a title shot, right? But then again, man, he's going to be waiting for a long time because I don't know when Tyron Woodley's going to come back. So that's a tough one, man. Maybe they could throw up Kamaru Usman against Darren Till instead of Wonderboy and give Wonderboy someone else. Maybe, someone lower in the rankings. He's been fighting really high-level competition. Then again, Darren Till was number 8, but Darren Till did have skills. We were just seeing if they were true. Maybe a Neil Magny. Maybe a Gunnar Nelson, like I said before. Those would be pretty good fights. Maybe Robbie Lawler. Actually, that would be an excellent fight. So Wonderboy has some good choices. Darren Till has a few choices. I think either Kamaru Usman or just wait for the title shot. The co-main event, Neil Magny pretty much handled Craig White pretty easily. Just showed his experience in all areas of the game. Got him to the clinch, knocked him down with a knee. But then again, Craig White did land some really good leg kicks, which surprised me. Then you had the Arnold Allen versus Mads Burnell fight. I mean, that fight was crazy. Burnell was literally dominating the fight with his wrestling. Pressure him like I thought he would, taking him down. But then again, Arnold Allen was leaning over all of his punches instead of using his feet to cover the distance. And when you lean over, your hips are so far back, you can't really defend and sprawl and you can't use your hips that well. So Burnell just blasted right through him every time. And then Arnold Allen caught him in a front choke. Finished it off in the 3rd round, man. That was insane. Then you had the Jason Knight versus Makwan Amirkhani fight. Probably the fight of the night, right? Makwan said that he took time off to fix his boxing, but it didn't look too great. I'm not going to lie. His right hooks are way too wide, and they were telegraphed, and he was just throwing it. I mean, he wasn't throwing much else. He threw a couple uppercuts to a left hand, and he went to the body once, but he got met with an uppercut when he did that. He got a little bit complacent when he was winning some of the boxing exchanges. Man, Jason Knight just taking a lot of damage in his career, man. He's a young guy. Chin is not going to last long. And the thing about Makwan is he's such a good wrestler. It's very shocking for me to see him take him down and then let him stand back up. It's like, what are you really doing? And then in the 3rd round, he took him down and controlled him throughout the entire round. I'm like, where was this the entire time? I know he was sweaty, so maybe that was his game plan. Waiting until Jason Knight's guard game got diminished because of the slipperiness and all that stuff. So that was a good decision win for Makwan. Claudio Silva with a great rear naked choke on Nordine Taleb. I mean, he came out there looking to finish this fight from the get-go. I mean, he's been out for 4 years, I think, right? Came back, beat a tough guy, Nordine Taleb. Some promise from this guy. And then you had Eric Spicely versus Stewart. Very shocked to see Eric Spicely just stand up for most of the fight. I mean, he's a jiu-jitsu guy. Barely tried to take it to the ground, and he's fighting a powerful striker or a powerful puncher in Stewart. And Stewart just blasted him. Open shot. Spicely goes down and just finished it with ground and pound. When you see Spicely turn over, jiu-jitsu guy turn over after getting hit, it's over. You had good wins by Tom Breeze. Looked like he damaged Daniel Kelly's eye with the uppercut and then just finished him off in the first round. Gillian Robertson had a very good rear naked choke on McCann, which broke the streak of fighters missing weight and winning. That was the first time a fighter that missed weight this year lost. So that was a good way to break that streak. But all in all, it was a pretty average card, I would say. Not the greatest card. The main event was kind of lackluster. Some fights were fun, but not the greatest, I'm not gonna lie. But I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you did, make sure to give it a thumbs up, and if you enjoyed my content, make sure to subscribe. For my next video, I'll make a breakdown of one of the fights on the cards, so be looking out for that. It's probably going to come out by tomorrow. Then my podcast, I moved it to Thursday, but I could get it out by Wednesday, so be tuned around that time. So I'm going to post in my community tab for you guys to reply your questions under, and then I'll answer your questions on the podcast. And if you guys want to tweet me any questions, just tweet me. The link to my Twitter is going to be in the description, and just hashtag an MMA meeting, and I'll read those first. So again, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.